Yo, what's up guys? Happy Friday. In this video, we're going to look at the main slate. So yesterday, the main slate started very early, 12:10, so I didn't post a video for it, but as always, posted the core on Twitter, and it was solid with Tyler Mahle was very low owned, and he had over 20 DraftKings points at a under 6,000 price tag. And then went with a couple Rockies and Arenado Story, and they came through. So lineup was great, 140.25 on DraftKings, and FanDuel was great as well with a 174. So looking to carry the momentum into today's slate. So before we get started with the video, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. So today you're going to have to make some tough decisions if you're going to pay up at pitcher or you're going to pay up for bats. The reason I say that is because we have Coors Field and we have two of the hottest offenses in the league right now with the Rockies and Diamondbacks facing off against two lefties, one terrible lefty in Tyler Anderson and one decent lefty in Robbie Ray, who when he struggles, he unravels very quickly. And this Rockies team has had a lot of success against Robbie Ray, and the Rockies are deadly against lefties. So I think it's a great spot to stack up Coors. So to do that, you're going to have to pay down a pitcher because all those guys are like 5,000 and up. So, but if you were going to pay up a pitcher, I'd probably go with Kershaw first, then Sale, then Paxton. But the reason I'm paying down a pitcher today is we also have some great value options that DraftKings has gave us. Started off with Kyle Gibson. He's at $6,700 facing a Yankees team that is still very banged up without their two superstars, Judge and Stanton. They're getting a little healthier. I think Andujar might be back. But either way, they still have a bunch of guys in the lineup that are not very scary with power. Gibson has had two really good starts in a row. Both were against the Orioles, which, their lineup is not very good, so it's not a huge accomplishment. But Gibson last season was excellent. He has a lot of strikeout upside, and this Yankees team, there is a lot of swing and miss in the lineup. So Gibson at $6,700, I think he's a good play because he's very, very cheap and allows you to pay up for bats. And he's had, he's flashed over 20 point upside his last couple starts, and last season he did that a lot of the time. So I like Gibson. He can get you over 20 DraftKings points at a very cheap price tag. And then the second pitcher I like, I'm going to go all the way down to a rookie pitcher and Tyler Beede. 6,100. He's a great bargain. Usually I don't like to play guys that are making their debut, but I could make an exception for him just because he has tremendous strikeout upside, and strikeouts equals points, lots and lots of points on DraftKings and FanDuel. This season he has 34 strikeouts in just 22 and 2/3 innings. His ERA is under 2, WHIP is just 1.08, and he's facing an offense that has struggled mightily throughout the first month. The Reds are bottom 5 in runs scored. They are struggle in batting average. They strike out a decent amount. This guy has a ton of strikeout upside, and the advantage is that none of the Reds hitters have seen him. So the pitcher usually has the advantage the first time facing a lineup, unless his stuff is just completely terrible. So I like this guy. He's very cheap, and he can get you a lot of points because he has tremendous strikeout upside. And going with those two pitchers makes it very easy to stack up Coors, which I really, really want to do on this slate. So those are the pitcher options that I like. Starting with the bats, give me Wilmer Flores. I like him a lot here at first base or maybe even second base. So Flores is only $4,400. He's been great against lefties. I'll show you guys the stats here on Fangraphs for this video. So far this season, Flores has a .267 batting average, and his lone home run just came the other day. It was against a lefty. For his career, the numbers are really similar in batting average, but the power is very drastic. He has a lot more power against lefties than righties. As you see, he has a career 202 ISO against lefties, just a 143 ISO against righties. And Tyler Anderson is not good at all against either side of the plate. So this could be a spot where if you want to get contrarian with your stacks, then you would probably play a couple of lefties from the Diamondbacks, because not many people are going to do that. But looking at the numbers for Anderson, he's just terrible to both sides of the plate. 400 batting average given up to lefties, 346 to righties. Lefties have crushed him to 850 slugging this season. So, like I said, some of the lefties in Arizona are going to be low owned. And for his career, Anderson, very similar, very bad against both sides of the plate. And in Coors, he's been terrible too. So I really like the Diamondbacks here, starting with Wilmer Flores, who starting to heat up a little bit. He has power, especially against lefties, and With this high total, I like the price tag on him at just 4,400. So at third base, give me Nolan Arenado, the lefty masher himself, who's been on absolute fire. $5,500 is nothing. He has 6 hits his last 2 games. He is really, really on fire. Got off to a slow start, but you would not expect him to. You would not have known that he got off to a slow start with his numbers right now. 297, 9 home runs already, 27 RBIs. 3 of those home runs have come in the last 2 days. And if you want to see the numbers against Arenado against lefties, you should know that he crushes lefties. He's one of the best lefty hitters in the league. And facing Robbie Ray, who has been bad against righties. He hasn't been bad, but he has struggled more against righties. And Arenado has had some success against Robbie Ray in his career. This season, Nolan Arenado is hitting a crisp .344 against lefties with 4 home runs and just 37 plate appearances. That gives him a whopping .469 ISO to go with an .813 slugging. Unbelievable. If you look at his career numbers against lefties, .325 batting average and a .295 ISO. So numbers check out for him a lot. I love him every time he faces a lefty, and he gets a great matchup here in Colorado. He's always been better at home, and the way he's been hitting the ball, he could easily hit at least a 1 home run, and we know he has that ability to take it out of the park on every at-bat. So I love him. In the outfield, I'm going to go with Ketel Marte. So he's been red hot for the Diamondbacks. He also has a lot of power against lefties. Has 7 home runs already on the season. 5,400 is pretty expensive for him, but like I said, if you pay down at pitcher, it's not hard at all to fit in these guys, and the matchup is just great against Tyler Anderson, who showed you guys the numbers already. He's just bad against both sides of the plate. Marte has been a great hitter this season. He's been great against lefties primarily. This season, he has a .300 batting average against lefties with 4 home runs in just 40 at-bats. Unbelievable for him, too, against lefties. That gives him a .350 ISO with a .650 slugging. And last season as well, 2018 is when he really started to smoke the ball. And last season against lefties, he hit .321, almost 100 points higher than his numbers against righties. And he also had 9 home runs during that stretch. But he's been red hot, and he's been hitting the ball really, really hard. So I love Marte here in the outfield. And then last but not least, I like Ian Desmond at 3,800. He is very, very cheap. It's very rare that you get a guy under 4,000 playing in Coors. But we have that with Ian Desmond. He's got off to a slow start, but he has picked it up a little bit over the past week. Desmond is a great hitter against lefties. The 3 main hitters against lefties are Story, Arenado, and Desmond. If we can look at the numbers for Desmond here. Against lefties, he's been great. He's been great, and he also has been solid since he's come in Colorado and playing in Coors Field. He's been good. This season, let's see what his numbers against lefties is very, very solid. It's not super solid, but compared to righties, it's solid. .242 against lefties. 2 out of his 3 home runs have come against lefties in just 35 plate appearances, 33 at-bats. You got to like that. That gives him a solid .515 slugging, .273 ISO. And for his career, he is a .278 hitter against lefties, 20 points higher than righties, and his power numbers are way more higher against lefties. And last season, he was really, really good last season, so I expect him to improve his play. He hit .280 against lefties with 9 home runs in more than half the at-bats against righties, and that gave him a solid .229 ISO and a .509 slugging. So Desmond is another guy that you would want if you're going to be stacking Colorado, because he's very, very cheap and he has a lot of power, especially in this ballpark. So those are the picks that I like, going with cheap at pitcher so I can fit in my bats. And even with all these expensive guys, we still have 4,500 left to fill out the rest of the picks. So thanks for watching. I appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter here at the DFS Process. You can check out the website, dfsprocess.net. Thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and good luck today.